Then black tax. Okay, this is where I have something to put, because you always give something to your parents, your sisters. Your black tax is for those Africans who are always having to give something to their parents or people around. So you're lying to yourself. If you're one of those who don't track your finances, you are actively lying to yourself about where your money is going to. Because every time you keep checking your bank account to see if money has been added or deducted, and you think, okay, by doing this, you've got it handled, right? But I'm telling you that you are very wrong, because the reason your money isn't growing, your savings aren't growing, the reason you're still living paycheck to paycheck is not because you don't have enough money, but it is because you are willingly ignoring that one thing that is going to fix it all. And the effect on your finances is more devastating than you think. So in this video, I'm going to be exposing that uncomfortable truth about what happens when you use your mind only to calculate your money. Then I'm going to give you the ultimate solution, my personal finance tracker. I'll show you exactly how I use it step by step, and to stop this financial crisis you're currently facing and take complete control of your money. So for someone who has worked 8 years, and in the first 3 years of working, I mismanaged my money. Like, I bought everything and anything I wanted because I did not really have a good grasp on what I was spending my money on. So I basically calculated my finances based on how I think about it, like what do I need this month. But then I found that I was constantly living paycheck to paycheck. This prompted me to start writing down everything I spent my salary on, and I did this on my Samsung phone, where I wrote it down month by month. I keep copying and pasting back, doing all that. But later on, now 8 years down the line, I find that okay, there is something that I can use that is more efficient. This led me to creating the finance tracker that I'm going to be sharing with you in a minute. But I just want to let you know how life-changing this has been for me. And I feel like anybody who is new to managing their money or wanting to get a better grasp on managing their money should try using this finance tracker, because it will definitely help you. So we're going to be covering the 50-30-20 rule, because that is one thing that has helped me in portioning my salary. It's not just about you earning money and then dividing it, but are you putting a good portion of your money in your needs, in your wants, and are you keeping a portion of that your money in your savings as well? Because trust me, I've had my fair share of everything bad with money, but I've now come to a place where I can say, okay, I've gotten a good grasp on what I'm spending my money on, where it is going, to the extent that I have now been able to grow my savings portfolio to a large extent, even though I'm not yet where I want to be finally. But I've done a good job in managing my money to a good extent. So in this video, we're going to be using the 500,000 Naira salary as like a base for what we are going to, just to show you how the finance tracker works and how you too can use it. Because in one of my videos where somebody was saying that 500,000 or 467k was the base salary for people in Lagos. Best salary is 467k. In which economy, please? Is it in this same Nigerian economy that we are in that even 500k is not enough for you to take care of your basic needs? That's raised a lot of conversations, but it is something around 500,000, I should say, is the base salary that you see that most people in Nigeria get. It might not even be like a good percentage of Nigerians, but I'm just saying, like, okay, for the middle class, this is a good place to put as what people get. So let's use 500,000 Naira. So whatever you see in this video right now, it is based on the 500,000 Naira budget. Trust me, this finance tracker is adjustable, so you don't have to worry about that. If you feel you don't drink coffee, you can always just adjust it to whatever it is you use your money for. So for this finance tracker, we're going to be using the 50-30-20 rule, which is something I use to manage my money all the time. So I feel like it's applicable to so many people. But for this, for the sake of this tutorial, or should I say how to use this finance tracker, I'll be using the 500k. And for the 50-30-20 rule, we have to break it down to what your needs are 50%, what your wants are 30%, and what your savings and investments are 20%. So this is what we are going to be working with. Now let's go to the finance tracker. Tracker is looking like, it has all your, these details are just what I used to create the finance tracker. So we are going to start adjusting it now using 500,000 Naira. So today's date is 7th, but let's say for the sake of the using 1 month, we are going to be we are starting from the 1st of August, 1st of August to 31st of August, because this is what's the month I'm filming this video. So let's just use that as an example. So let's say your salary is 500k. you just have to, put 500k in the starting balance, and then you move on to the cash flow, because I feel we have to fill this column of the finance tracker before we now move on to, like, adjusting the fixed expenses and the variable expenses. So for the cash flow, obviously our starting balance is 500,000. 500,000. On it once, and put in the amount you're using. At least for this video is 500,000. So the budget is 500,000 and the actual is 500,000. Sometimes you might be budgeting 600k, but the money that will come to you is something different. So that is why you are seeing that there's actual and there's budget, I mean. So we got our starting balance. Our income is obviously, that can still be different. It depends on the persons, but for this sake, let's still go with our 500,000 naira. Now this is where we now have to start using, imputing the details like I have just broken down in that in my notes pad. So for savings, obviously it's 20% of 500,000 naira, so this will be 100,000 naira. So if we can save 100,000 naira, that is still a very good deal, because not everybody can save 500,000, even when they know that, okay, they are going to use 20%, but they will not do that. So you just have to, adjust it accordingly, or how you feel comfortable. But for me, I'm going to be using 100,000 naira as a budget. So this is like the budget now, because we're using 50-30-20 rule, right? So budget is 100,000, but then some people might just say, okay, I want to put only 20,000. That is where the actual now comes into play. But for the sake of this and for the discipline that I've always had with me, I'm going to be using 100,000 as the actual as well. Now the fixed and variable expenses, it is after you fixing whatever it is you're fixing here, that is when it is now going to naturally reflect here, because it has been formulated in such a way that whatever difference you make here on this side of the finance tracker, it will reflect on this side. And then for debt, there's the debt area here. Whatever adjustments you make here, it will reflect on this other side of the finance tracker. So for now, let's leave this two column, but you can see, like, whatever adjustments you make here, it reflects in this ones. So for paycheck, so for this case, we are going to be using 500,000, right? Actual should still be 500,000, but that is if you have a constant salary. You might still be, for someone like me now who is now doing social media, let's say my first paycheck is my salary, then the second paycheck can be like, whatever I'm earning from my gigs that I'm doing on the side. But for now, for the paycheck too, which can be from gigs and all that, let me say 300,000 naira. This still does not mean that I'm going to be putting it, but let's just say for the sake of this video, we'll use that. Bonus. Let's say 100,000. Let's leave this 100,000 naira, which is still not, it's not something that is every month, but for this month, let's just say we have a bonus of 100,000. Gifts, this is less likely, or for some people it's more likely, depending on, your influence or how you've been able to position yourself in society. But for me, let me just say 30,000. 30,000, yeah. Now, as you can see, whatever you're making here, it is adjusting in this bottom part of the finance tracker. So for savings, this is if you have like a car savings, if you want to buy a car. But for me, I don't want to buy a car, so that should go back to zero. Renovations, I'm not planning any renovations anytime soon, but let me just put 100,000 naira, because never say never. I might want to change my curtain or something. So vacation, guys. I've been planning for a trip to Japan. Stay on this page, because I'm planning a new series where we have coffee and have conversations around the things that are not finance related, because I have a lot of things to say, but I always try to hold myself back. So let's go back to the finance tracker now. Vacation, let's say 50,000 naira, of which we all know 50,000 naira is nowhere near what you can use to plan for a vacation. So let's be realistic here. Let me just say 100,000 naira. Even this is still not enough, but that's about it. Wedding, when the man comes, we'll plan the wedding. Holiday depends on what you classify as vacation and what you consider as holiday, but I feel like it's the same thing. So I'm going to be leaving it as 0. You see, whatever changes you're making here, it is reflecting immediately. You don't need a calculator to do this, so that is the best part about the finance tracker. Now let's go to the main place. Oh God, where the main things are happening. You now have your rent, Netflix, Spotify, cooking gas, NEPA. NEPA has now been something that has increased lately. Like, it is so annoying, but we have found ourselves in this place. But like I said, I already so I'm going to be reducing this so that I can share the screen with these two side by side each other. So now we have like the rents, rent. We are going to be putting that at 120,000. I have no choice here. Let's put 120,000. This is your monthly budget for what you're going to be spending or keeping for your rent. Because in Nigeria we pay rent yearly, so but we'll be keeping this for monthly. We'll be keeping this monthly so as to make up for the yearly, the one we are going to pay next year. But for now, Netflix, not in this day and time. Me, I don't have Netflix, so I always use my sisters. We should do family sharing. So Spotify. Not really that much. I prefer my YouTube, music. So people call it old school, but it's working. So why do I have to spend money on Spotify? Cooking gas. This one is very important. So it depends on where, this one now is just based on, what I've scheduled. But depends on if you are the one that is always buying cooking gas every month, of which I don't. For me, that is not the case because I can use one 12 kg full gas for like maybe 3 months. So for this month, I'm not buying gas, so I'll put that as 0, 0. So guys, if you see, let's make the next change. You still see that whatever changes you're making in this place is reflecting in this place, and it's reflecting in every other place. Both the graphs, it is adjusting, like everything is adjusting. That is why I love this finance tracker a lot. I created it, but it is one that has worked for me, and it has been tailored so much to the Nigerian atmosphere that it is very useful for us, because most of the finance trackers we see out there, they are mostly tailored to the American or the international audience. But for Nigerians, this was like something that I really needed to do, because I have experienced my fair share of having bad financial, should I say management. So at some point it felt like I needed to do something about it, and I've shared my journey with you guys on this page. So this is one of the things that I've been doing so far, for this. So now let's say feeding, obviously this is still a variable expenses, because it will now come into like the aspect of groceries. Let me show you how the finance tracker adjusts when you impute it, to show you that let's say feeding now we know it's 60,000, electricity, water, that 30,000. So let me just show you how you so that you can see that this stuff adjusts when let me reduce the space. Now feeding, obviously feeding is in a variable place, because sometimes this month's cost of groceries will be 100,000, next month is 60,000. But for this finance tracker, let's just say 60,000. Look at that, like this adjusted immediately. So groceries 60,000, actual is still the same 60,000, nothing is changing. But that is if, let's just pray that you don't go and spend more than, because if you end up budgeting this, but then you end up spending 100,000, let's just put 100,000, you find that okay. So after, you see from here, you can see that what is left is now 40,000 naira. So I'm having to balance myself 40,000. As funny as it is, that is the reality sometimes. But now I have finished feeling like what my essentials are in these fixed expenses, because lately I've not been going to the gym. So it is 0, so I don't have any expenses. I need to resume very soon, but for this month I don't have any expenses on that. Home service 5,000, so everything here has balanced out. But now let's come to the variable ones. These are like those expenses that they're always changing every month, different price. As you can see, we are already filled the groceries part, but if you're one that takes transports, this is where you put your transport fare. But for me, who is always buying fuel, so fuel now is no longer for the poor man, so this is a lot. Let me put 70,000 naira here. Actual might be different. Let me just put 100,000 in case, because you don't really know what it is going to be. Health, luckily I work in a place where health is provided for me, so I don't have any expenses there. Beauty, I'm not really, as you can see my face is I'm not really, so I just buy them once in a while, and whatever I have lasts me till the stuff expires. So that is that. For clothes, this month am I planning to buy any clothes? Not really. So gifts, I'm not gifting anybody, or I don't have any friend who is doing any birthday this month, so that is zero. Entertainment, I already have my TV, I have my TikTok. No entertainment. Guys, I'm being very realistic here. Then black tax. Okay, this is where I have something to put, because you always give something to your parents, your sisters. Your black tax is for those Africans who are always having to give something to their parents or people around. So for this, let me put 30,000. As you can see, this is my variable expense, because maybe I don't have children yet. Car maintenance, I'm not planning. I maintain my car every 3 months, so that is not in this month. So transport, I don't take public transport, so there's nothing there. Groceries, as you can see, there might be a difference. Coffee runs, I don't really buy coffee outside because I have all my coffee machines. I have a plethora of coffee machines, so I'm just putting 5,000 in case if I maybe step out and then decide to buy one. Fuel, this is where I usually have to spend a lot of money, because I buy fuel twice every like 2 times in a month. So that is why I'm saying that actual might fall into this place. Health, luckily, like I said, I work in a place where health, like the basic healthcare is provided. Beauty, nothing. So I've just feel this based on what I do, and whatever it is I am making here, or whatever adjustment it is I am making here, they are all reflecting wherever it is applicable in this other part. So now for savings, 30% emergency funds, treasury bills, business, whatever it is. This is for those who, okay, maybe they don't have savings already, or they've not created emergency funds. Then you can now, because this thing you can always adjust it to fit whatever it is you're doing in your life, because this one I just created it to be generic, so anybody can adjust it. Maybe you don't buy coffee, you can remove coffee and then fixing whatever fits you in here. So that is how the finance tracker works. Then you now have whatever it is you're doing on this side as well is reflecting on this side, and then your total income, everything is just reflecting basically however it is you adjust it. So that is the best part about this finance tracker. Another thing, so from this part of the finance tracker, my total income is based on whatever is, this is my income, so this figure here naturally just reflects on this part. And my total expenses is a combination of my fixed, variable, and my fixed expenses and fixed variable expenses. So you see that my total expenses is 405,000, and this naturally just reflects here again, because it depends on how I have formulated it in such a way that whatever change you make in one part just naturally reflects in the other part where it is related. So this is what my finance tracker is like. It is not hard at all. I made it tailored to the Nigerian atmosphere, and anybody who is not Nigerian can as well use it, depending on whatever it is you spend your money on. But this is basically what it looks like. Nothing too fancy, nothing too all that matters is that you know where you are putting your money every month, because then it will help you to know, okay, how much have I saved this month, how much more do I need to save, maybe going forward. This now is the complete method of how to use the finance tracker. If you're one that has not used the finance tracker before, let me know in the comments. If you feel like maybe there's something that's still not clear, let me know in the comments, because I'm ready and willing to answer to all your questions. So guys, this is how to use the finance tracker, or at least I've made it in such a way that it is tailored to the Nigerian atmosphere, what to spend our money on, or even anybody who is not Nigerian as well can use this. But it was mostly having the Nigerian environment in mind, because most of the finance tracker we see out there, they are more tailored to the international market, not really focused on the Nigerian. Just imagine like black tax, but then you have to budget for these things because they happen, and if you don't plan for them, like I said, if you don't plan for money, money will plan for you. So that is the situation we find ourselves in. Okay, so now if you notice, we did not really talk so much about the savings and the investments aspect of this finance tracker. But on this page, I believe I've convinced you well enough that I have saved a whole lot of money from learning how to manage my money, emergency funds, the need for me to invest in treasury bills, to the extent that now I can comfortably say, like, from January to June, I get interest from investing in treasury bills because, I've been doing it for so long and keep rolling over my investments. So I have a good, grasp on my investment and savings. But for this, for the sake of this video where we are talking about using 500,000 Naira as the salary or the budget, I am now going to be adjusting some of the things in this, savings portion of the finance tracker to match, these are our budgets, which is 100,000 Naira for savings and investments. So in this portion where there is car, let me expand this so that in this portion which says car, since we are not planning to buy a car, you can always just adjust it to, so for this case now, we are going to be changing this one to emergency fund. That which is now 30,000 for our budget, and being a prudent person means that I'm still going to be putting 30,000 Naira on here. So now for renovations, there's really no need for renovations, of which but this I had to make it generic. So for now, we are going to be changing this to what now? We are going to be changing this to treasury bills, which is another 30,000. So 30,000, actual 30,000 as well. So like I said, for me, I believe vacation and holidays is the same thing. So we're going to be changing this vacation to maybe you want to start investing in stocks, because I talk about stocks as well, like some of the investments I've done. So for stocks, you can decide to put 20,000 Naira, even though we know because of Naira value and all that, like this 20,000 Naira is basically nothing, but is what it starts. All that matters is that you're consistently, putting a certain amount in your stock portfolio, whether it is $1. Okay guys, so this is all there is to the finance tracker. Really, it is nothing complicated. It's just put figures based on how you've divided the 50-30-20 rule, and you find that it will just align and then give you where you are overspending, where you are underspending, or where you need to just balance out. So you get the budgeting part, you get the actual part, and just fix it according to what you need in your day-to-day lifestyle. Adjust it accordingly, basically. So I just thought to share this with you because it has really shown a difference in helping me to manage my money. Like I said previously, I used to write it down on my Samsung notes, but I had to manually be copying the last month, pasting it, and then start adjusting it again. But with this one now, I don't need to calculate so much. I just need to input the values or the figures I feel like using the 50-30-20 rule will match what my salary is supposed to be for, and I find that it gives me a good balance. So I just thought to share this with you because it has really helped me. Let me know in the comments, have you heard of a finance tracker before? Have you used one before? How effective was it? Let's just reflect on what you're spending our money on, because money topic is not always like the easiest one to have, but I want to demystify that and let's be able to talk about these things. This channel is still growing, so many people are getting to know this channel, but we're all about money, self-growth. Like I said, I'm creating a new a new chapter in this on this channel where we will now be talking about coffee and conversations. We'll be having conversations that I don't normally talk about before, because I am a lot of things, not just money. Like I love to talk about self-growth, travel, I love to drink a lot of coffee, so expect more of that on this page. But now let me leave you to it. Go and try out the finance tracker. I've put a link of it in the description. For those who are in Nigeria, you can get it through Paycheck. For those who are outside Nigeria, you can get it through Gumroad. So 2 of those links will be in the description. Make sure to get it. If you want a discount code, comment "I want" and I'll send it to you. So let me know. I'll put it in the comment section. Don't worry. Guys, so this is all I have for you today. I'll see you guys in my next one. If you really enjoyed this video, check out some of the things I stopped spending money on. That has really helped me a lot in cutting down on what I spend my money on, because like I said, I've had my fair share of spending money carelessly without knowing what do I really want this thing, or do I really need this thing, or do I just want it? Answering that question has been very important. So check out that video right here, and I'll see you guys in my next one.